Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will be dissecting floor 7 of the Abomination Vaults. This is the final floor of the second book, Hands of the Devil, and as such, there are some big moments waiting for your players on this level. As always, we go through a general overview of the floor, key encounters, side quests, and more. As previous videos, this one is also filled to the brim with spoilers. If you are playing in an Abomination Vaults game or will soon be playing in one, stop this video now and go do that thing you've been wanting to do for so long. Yes, I know you have been procrastinating. It takes one to know one. Without further ado, let's get to it. During her construction of the vaults 500 years ago, Belcora summoned the contract devil Uravan to serve her as the vault's administrator. Uravan gladly worked out a deal with the sorceress and even offered to train her troops. Of course, this did not come from whatever kindness can be found in the devil's heart. Uravan knew that Volrajani, member of the Rose Guard and exiled royalty of Nadal, lived in Absalom. For reasons unknown to Uravan, the souls of the Rajani family hold special value in the Hells, and he agreed to work for Belcora as long as he was free to claim the soul of the legendary swordswoman. Ironically, when Volrajani and the other members of the Rose Guard ended up almost on Uravan's doorstep when they came for Belcora, the contract devil was in Hell, promising the Rajani soul to more powerful entities even though he did not possess it yet. When he returned and found Belcora slain, he realized why one should not count their chickens before they hatch. With Belcora dead, she could not fulfill her side of the contract, and Uravan did not dare to return to Hell without a Rajani soul. For hundreds of years, Uravan spent preparing an invasion that might never happen, and warred with Javaki and the Sugathi on the 6th floor. With the Flesh Warpers blocking the way to the surface for Uravan's troops, he cannot do much more than wait and see how things develop. With Belcora now returned, Uravan knows there's a chance to fulfill the contract, but he is looking for options to get out of this legalistic mess. His spies have also delivered the information that Carmen Rajani, a person of less legendary status than his ancestor, but a Rajani nonetheless, lives in nearby Otari. As a cherry on top, a bunch of would-be heroes seem to work their way down the dungeon, attempting to protect this seaside town from the army he is preparing. What deals might these adventurers be willing to make to keep their people safe? Ceilings on this floor are generally 20 feet high, and red light from flames and diabolical symbols illuminate this floor. The doors are sturdy stone bound in iron and flicker briefly when opened. This effect can be suppressed by a PC trained in religion muttering a quick incantation. The passages further down are blocked. In room 1, the stairs down are blocked by rubble, which takes a week of labor to clear out. The other way down is a mineshaft elevator, protected by an infernal barrier which is tied to the essence of Uravan's contract. The adventurers will have to make a deal with Uravan, destroy him, or somehow find a way to work for at least a week to create a passage to the floor below and into the events of the 3rd book. Led by Uravan, the devils rule this floor. They have been training each other and the flesh warps under their command, while also forging weapons and preparing other war gear. The PCs might have already met a scouting party of devils on floor 6, and other infernals on earlier floors, such as Corlock, are also under Uravan's command. Uravan has locked the doors to his quarters, passing instructions to his underlings via some of his loyal servants who can use pieces of a pendant to pass through the door. The adventurers can only open this door once they have assembled all 5 pieces. Well, someone succeeding on a DC 25 religion check can also enter with just 4 pieces, a flaw Uravan himself is not aware of. The 5 pieces are held by the following individuals: Asval Vigander, a Zabub in room 4, Barkenbuck, an Aranese Forgemaster in room 5, one of the Aranese in room 7, Isan Kalir in room 18, and finally, the Sarklagon in room 5 on the 6th floor. Before we delve into specific encounters, let's start with some general advice. Since Uravan has been sending scouts upstairs, it is likely that he knows the PCs are coming. As such, the exact location of some encounters could change depending on where Uravan commands his troops to be. For example, the Dreshkins and Mulventogs from room 15 might be called upon to guard the staircase in room 1 after the PCs defeated the Grothlet and the Barbazu handler. If the PCs retreat to Otari to rest, the Devils might take that time to reorganize and change their defenses. You should also consider moving the encounter with the Ocelith Iagian in room 6 into another room. She's a large creature in a 20 by 15 room. With a full party, she has practically no space to move, making her encounter way less interesting. I suggest moving her into the eastern hallway branching off of room 1, perhaps being very bored guarding the Gug in room 8. Room 6 could be repurposed as an antechamber for the summoning circle in room 7. Perhaps the Aranese sisters store supplies here for their work? The encounters with the keepers of the pendant pieces are very important, considering the adventurers cannot continue without them. If the PCs have dealt with the Sarklagon on the 6th floor, they already have one of the pieces. However, they might not know there are other pieces. Inspecting the door to room 10 can show them that they require more parts of a pendant. Jack in room 9 can also offer more information on the pendants and who carries them, provided the PCs get on her good side. She also offers the PCs a Devil's Luck contract, so it is a good idea to read up on the rules for those. In room 4, the party finds Sizabub as Velvigander. She is responsible for managing inventory, and with the help of some Dreshkin, has made sure everything is where it is supposed to be. As Velvigander will command the Dreshkin to fight the adventurers, but when things turn dire, she can use Translocate, formerly known as Dimension Door, to flee. She might flee to room 5 to warn Barkenbuck. Heading back to Uravan is also an option, but that means admitting failure and could have dire consequences for the lowly Zabub. Room 5 holds the Hellforge, and has been the workplace for the Aranese Barkenbuck for hundreds of years. This devil takes pride in his work, and of all the fiends on this floor, he probably enjoys his work the most. A Barbazu guards and assists Barkenbuck in his work. As an Aranese, Barkenbuck can fly and uses Furious Fusillade ability to attack as many enemies as he wants. The Aranese rope snare can also significantly reduce the mobility of the PCs. The Barbazu is equipped with a Hellforged glaive, which makes its attacks way more harmful, on top of inflicting infernal wounds. Infernal wounds are a form of bleed that require a DC 20 flat check to stop bleeding, and any healing magic must succeed on a DC 21 counteract check or fail to heal at all. Do not underestimate the impact of infernal wounds on an encounter. Room 7 holds the bickering Aranese sisters, who are caught up in a discussion about the proper ways of creating a summoning circle. If the adventurers share their interest, they will listen to their points and gather information, but once they feel like they have learned enough, the Aranese will strike. This room is suspended over a pit of natural magma, separating the stairs from a platform holding the summoning circle in progress. PCs will have to resort to ranged options or dare to leap across the magma, which could end in a fiery death. Cunning adventurers might also convince the Aranese to come closer, for example, by pretending to have some detailed texts on the correct creation of summoning circles. Observant characters can also see that there are cracks in the ceiling, water from the lake in room 4 of floor 6 dripping through. If the heroes can widen this crack, the water will spill into the room, cool the magma, and destroy the summoning circle. Isankalir holds the final piece of the pendant, but we will talk about him in more detail in the side quest section of this video. Room 8 used to be an isolation chamber, but the door of it no longer properly locks. A note on the room's door reads, "Do not disturb if you value your limbs." The room is currently occupied by a meditating gug named Aller, an envoy from below sent by Belcora. She has demanded multiple audiences with Uravan, but since the contract devil is still weighing his options and does not want to discuss business with Belcora's servants, Aller has so far only talked with Uravan's underlings. She is very much done with that, and has made it clear to only want to talk with Uravan. Her arrival and obnoxious behavior were the final straw for Uravan to block the pathways to the lower floors. Let's be honest for a moment. If a note on a door says to not disturb, chances are that the average player at your table will be all the more interested in opening said door. Aller will mistake the PCs for another group of underlings and attack. A Gug is a terrifying foe, and even more dangerous if the PCs have arrived on this floor at a lower level than intended. She has a plus 23 to her attacks and reactive strikes. Aller will, however, not chase the party, and I suggest having her slam the door shut behind her when the PCs flee, shouting that she only wants to speak to Uravan. Aller's purpose here is not to present a fair fight, but foreshadowing the creatures the party will find further below and to scare the players with some big numbers. Running from this fight is a totally valid option. Speaking of foreshadowing, let's talk about a very special wisp. Granted additional powers by Nimbleoth through her servitude and loyalty to the Empty Death, Sakushu has been sent by Belcora to scout the upper floors and learn more about current activities. With the passages downwards blocked, Sakushu cannot return and spends quite some time in room 21, a former shrine dedicated to Nimbleoth. Sakushu wanders this floor and could meet the heroes anywhere. If any PC is openly carrying the Whispering Reeds from floor 3, she becomes enraged that such a sacred book has fallen into unworthy hands and attacks. If she has to retreat, she flees to room 21 by any means possible, or checks if any passage downwards has opened. Considering her special nature, turning Sakushu into just another combat encounter feels like a waste. If the PCs are not flashing the Whispering Reeds and are open to parley, she could also talk with them and see if there's any more information to glean from them. She might also convince the PCs to follow her to the shrine in room 21, luring them with more knowledge by staring into the scrying bowl in room 22. This would be a cunning way to expose the adventurers to Belcora, inflict damage upon them, and then launch into a fight in an attempt to kill them. Should a PC look into the bowl in room 22, Belcora will remember that character in later encounters. Room 17 contains the Stasis chambers, holding a menagerie of exotic monsters frozen in time. Belcora assembled these creatures to one day teleport them via the Gauntlet into Absalom. A hack helped Belcora in creating and maintaining these chambers, and the sorceress thanked her by killing her and having her return as a witchfire warden that still haunts these chambers. Some of these creatures kept in this room will likely be familiar to the characters. They have probably already encountered creatures such as Driders and Gibbering Mouthers. The other creatures, such as the Gug, Garnatine, and Gogiteth, have been brought up from the floors below. Uravan has not figured out how to safely disable the stasis chambers. Breaking the pillars around a chamber is the unsafe way to do it. Should a character do this, make a DC 3 flat check. On a success, the creature collapses and expires. On a failure, the freed creature attacks anything on sight. Considering many creatures contained here are significantly more powerful than the adventurers, this is a dangerous option to consider. The stasis chamber in the southwest is an illusion, hiding a secret passageway to the Nimbleless Shrine in room 21. First off, the teleportation circle on this floor is behind a secret door in room 2. A side quest the PCs might stumble upon deals with the Nephilim Tsunami. A bounty hunter hired by Uravan to capture Kamen Rajani, she failed her job and was brought back here by the Contract Devil's minions. She's in a bad condition and requires immediate aid. If the heroes help her and can improve her attitude towards them, she's willing to share that Uravan is willing to cut a deal for almost anything in exchange for Kamen. Tsunami wants to leave this place, and the PCs can help her with that. It is important for you to consider the current status of Kamen Rajani in your campaign to present Tsunami correctly. If the PCs killed Rajani after his theft of the cooperative blade, Tsunami's attempt at catching him must have taken place before that. If Kamen is still alive and no longer in Otari, Tsunami can share where she spotted him last. The adventure also assumes the PCs would want to turn Tsunami in to the Otari garrison for a reward, but I don't think that's a fair assumption to make. Freeing her and either escorting her to the surface or allowing her to find her own way out of the dungeon should also complete the side quest, providing 30 XP as a moderate quest reward. Isan Kalir, the denizen of Leng terrorizing Doriana Menimes, resides on this floor in room 18. Originally, he was hired by Belcora as chief strategist, planning troop movements and the future deployments of the sorceress forces. After her death, however, Isan Kalir grew bored of that work, and while Uravan Sabub gathered intel for him, he preferred seeking out latent psychics to invade their dreams. Such talent is hard to find, however, and Isan Kalir's mental intrusions often shatter the minds of his targets. Doriana, however, seems promising, and he is set on physically transferring her to the dimension of dreams. The quickest way for the adventurers to find Isan Kalir is via the Leng Ruby they can find in one of Doriana's stuffed toys, as described in the Doriana's Madness section at the start of the book. Isan Kalir is an intelligent foe who will try to dissuade enemies from fighting him. If the PCs share that they know of Doriana's situation, he will tell them that he shall refrain from further meddling with the girl as long as one of the adventurers accepts another Lang Ruby. This is an outright lie. If the PCs accept, Isan Kalir will relocate to another room on this floor and continue invading Doriana's dreams. Whoever accepted the additional Lang Ruby will also fall victim to his dream haunting. In a fight, a giant hand with an eerie resemblance to Doriana's real hand aids Isan Kalir. The denizen of Leng prefers to use abilities and spells that hinder and debilitate, like Hypnotic Pattern. Once he and the hand are killed, Doriana's mind and body are restored, and the horrors are over. The rooms adjacent to room 18 contain, among other things, a collection of hands Isan Kalir took from previous victims. This includes the hand of Yadzeli, the skulk the party might have met on the 6th floor. Now, let us talk about Uravan, Phistophilis and administrator of the vaults. Residing behind locked doors in room 10, Uravan will receive the adventurers with courtesy and politeness, but then cut right to the chase. He is willing to retreat with all of his fiendish forces and open up the passages leading down, all in exchange for just the soul of Kamen Rajani. Due to legalistic reasons in his contracts, he cannot retrieve the soul himself, and the PCs are a perfect third party to aid him. If they accept, Uravan will provide them with means to travel to Kamen Rajani's location. Once captured, this will also allow the PCs to quickly journey back to the vaults. If Kamen Rajani is dead, Uravan provides tools to capture the soul at his place of death. Once the soul is delivered in one way or another, Uravan sticks to his word and will leave the dungeon, along with any devil remaining. The barrier blocking the mining elevator will disappear, and if any minions of Uravan remain, he will order them to clear out the rubble blocking the stairs in room 1. The adventure describes various responses to the most likely questions the adventurers might have, but I think the choice they will ultimately make is based on the PC's values and ethics, and on how Kamen Rajani has been portrayed in the campaign so far. Going by the book, he is a bitter and bad person who tried to steal a valuable object, and who perhaps has done many more bad and potentially evil things in his life. Trading the soul of such a man for the safety of Otari could sound like a fair deal to some. However, if Carmen has been presented as a man who might be able to be redeemed, and your PCs, rightfully so, argue that no soul should just be handed to a devil, they might reject the offer. The only other way to keep Otari safe from more devils being summoned is to destroy Uravan. Aided by 2 Barbazu, this contract devil is not some nerd who has never been in a fight before. His attacks inflict infernal wounds, and his spells allow for extra mobility and battlefield control. Wall of Force is a highlight of his powers, and if you have the chance, I suggest using it to split the party. Since Wall of Force is a barrier, it blocks line of effect and can be a real pain for your spellcasters. This creates an excellent situation for the Contract Devil. Once he has dealt with the party members on his side of the wall, he might be able to urge the remaining adventurers to reconsider his offer. This floor marks the end of Book 2, Hands of the Devil. Once the PCs have found a way to descend, the vast lower floors are open to them. There are no big hooks leading into the 3rd book, but this is a good time to read ahead and familiarize yourself with the factions active on the final floors, their earlier dealings with Belcora, and the magical lenses that can draw the attention of the Eyes of Empty Death. Only 3 more floors remain before the PCs will decide the fate of the vaults. That's it for this video. Are there any specific parts of this floor you look forward to run, or do you have any further questions or feedback? Sound off in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.